telling my mum this really exciting story about how Sarah and I got lost when we were driving to a friend's place. The interaction happened a little bit like this. So Sarah and I were driving down this road and I was like, we really need to turn down there, and Sarah was like, no, it was way back there. Anyway, so she put her hand in this drink that she had on this. It was really funny because she forgot to put the lid on it, and it was like, what the heck are you doing, Sarah? And she's, sweetie, I'm gonna stop you right there. Every second word you're saying is or like. It's really distracting. You really should think about working on removing some of your filler sounds. Well, that was beautiful green screen work. Despite my frustration at the fact she'd missed how exciting my story was, I realised she kinda had a point. So I thought, it's alright, I can fix this. Which I realised was akin to that time when I was a kid and I broke my gingerbread cookie in half and thought, it's okay, I have a pot of glue, I can fix this. After trying for quite some time with zero results, I realised I'm actually taking a class in behaviour modification. Maybe I can fix this.
Oh, the knowledge.
I decided that this was something that needed my immediate attention because it was interfering with all forms of communication. But before I could do that, I realised I didn't know enough about the problem, so I decided to implement a functional assessment, which is just a fancy way of saying, what is the problem and what is making you do it? First, I had to define the problem, which was that I couldn't communicate without using words that just filled up space and didn't add anything to what I was actually trying to communicate. So frustrating! Defining the behaviour, however, was not enough to stop it. I needed more information, so I conducted a week's baseline assessment. I recorded it on a table. This table told me when the problem happened, what happened just before, or the antecedents, such as how I was feeling, who I was with, where I was. Also, the actual problem itself, what happened, then what happened afterwards, or the consequences. So what changed, how did other people react, how did I feel afterwards, that sort of thing. I wasn't always the most accurate when I was recording because it can be a little frustrating, but it gave me a general overview. If you wanted it to be more accurate, you could get that friend who watches you creepily all the time to do it. That might be more accurate, but also a little bit concerning. I then took all this information and tried to work out what was going on. I quickly realised that people are scary, and when a conversation would start to get a little bit, uncomfortable, my anxiety levels would go up and my brain function would go down. And my brain would start to so I would insert to give me some time to think about what I was going to say. And unfortunately, this worked really well. Too well. Because this gave me social positive reinforcement, because everyone would just keep listening to what I was saying even if it made no sense, and automatic negative reinforcement because my anxiety levels would go down. This, however, was creating more problems because the filler sounds were reducing my anxiety, which motivated me to keep using the filler sounds, which was then increasing my anxiety. Don't you just hate the flow-on effect? Whee! I took the information from the functional assessment and realised I still was going to need a little bit of help to get rid of this habit. So I implemented habit reversal training, which worked just like magic. See what I did there? Come on, it's funny. Step 1 in habit reversal training is awareness training. And thanks to the functional assessment, I already knew what the problem was and when it was likely to occur. In situations where I felt a little bit, uncomfortable. Not like now or anything. Step 2 was to find a competing response, which is something that is incompatible with the problem behaviour that you can use instead of the problem behaviour. Out of all of the things that I did naturally, there was one thing that stood out as a perfect competing response. It was... So now that I knew what the problem was, the situations that it was likely to occur in, and what to do about it, I needed to practice. Okay, so today we're going to practice removing some of your filler sounds. When you get into a conversation and you realise that your anxiety is getting a little bit raised, you're worried that you'll start to use a lot of filler sounds, just take some deep breaths, use some positive self-talk and calm yourself down. Now, what I'd like you to do is just to practice telling me about what you did today. Every time you feel that you're about to use a filler sound, or you've noticed that you've just used one, take a breath, implement your competing response of silence, and we'll see how you go. So what happened today? Okay, so today I went to class and oh my goodness, I need a lot of practice. Any form of behavior modification can be daunting and frustrating at the best of times, so that's why number three is to find some social support. These will give you some people who can prompt you when you need to use your competing response rather than saying and they can also give you some encouragement.
Why am I here?
To be my social support, so you can prompt me and help me and encourage me!
Yay!
It was worth a try at least. Finally, step 4. I don't know why I'm doing spirit fingers. This is to go back and review all of the situations in which this habit is likely to occur and to look at all of the different reasons why it can cause frustration or embarrassment or just inconvenience, and think of the reasons how this can help to motivate you in order to want to change. Another part of the motivational strategy is my lecturer's favourite word: reinforcement! Yay! Reinforcement is anything that increases the likelihood of a behaviour occurring again. For me, I used a few different motivational strategies, some that I'll talk about in a moment, but immediately when I noticed that I had used a competing response instead of a filler sound, I would give myself some self-praise. Yeah, go you! Well done! You're awesome! But never a cheesy victory dance. Yay! At this point, I also implemented some self-management strategies, because if I wasn't going to manage myself, no one else was going to. I created a chart and set myself daily and weekly goals, and I would record every single time that I used a filler sound. And if my filler sound count was lower than my daily goal, I would get a lovely little cheesy childish sticker on a chart. What? I like stickers. And if I achieved my weekly goal, I would buy myself something that I wanted that's completely normal. I love plants! So implementing the information that I learnt from the functional assessment about what my problem was and when it was likely to occur, I was able to use the habit reversal training in order to increase my awareness of the problem, then implement a competing response, engage some social support, and motivate myself in order to change. And slowly, over the next few weeks, my number of filler sounds went slowly down. It was actually really exciting. So if anyone had any problems with anything that's even slightly related to this, I would definitely recommend giving it a go. What have you got to lose? Hey Mum! Hi, yes, do you remember that time I was telling you that story about how Sarah and I got lost on the way to... Yeah, that story. You know how you said I was using way too many filler sounds? I've come across this procedure in one of my class textbooks and it's actually been really effective.